G.K. Chesterton once said, "Wherever there is animal worship, there is child sacrifice." End quote. Idols would often take the form of or would be represented by some kind of animal depiction with human attributes. Man is worshiping an idol, but through the idol's depiction, it is clear that it is all backwards and upside down. Man is being ruled by the very thing that he was created to rule over. I have 2 Old English bulldoggies. I love my bulldogs. My wife and I have often joked around that there are only 2 types of people in this world: bulldog people and everybody else. I guess we love all animals. We have lots of them, except for cats. Nobody should own cats. We're even told in the book of Proverbs that the righteous has regard for the life of his beast. Proverbs 12:10. So before I say what I'm about to say, I want it clearly stated and on the record that I am all for having pets and lots of animals. With that being said, and as awesome as animals can be, I am under no delusion that my animals are people, even though I may speak for my bulldogs on occasion. This is very important for us to remember because we are living in an upside-down world after all. Man was made in the image and likeness of God, to have dominion over his good creation, to put his mark on it through work and cultivation and procreation. Man was created to rule over creation, which, not surprisingly, includes the animals. As wonderful as animals are, and for as much joy as a good pet brings to your life, they are not people. The entrance of sin into the world makes everything upside down and backwards. Eve listened to the serpent, and Adam followed his wife's lead. G.K. Chesterton once said, "Wherever there is animal worship, there is child sacrifice." End quote. Idols would often take the form of or would be represented by some kind of animal depiction with human attributes. Man is worshiping an idol, but through the idol's depiction, it is clear that it is all backwards and upside down. Man is being ruled by the very thing that he was created to rule over. Now, far be it from me to disagree with Chesterton, so I won't. However, I would just add that his observation also works in reverse order. That is, where there is child sacrifice, there is also animal worship. When we hear Chesterton's words, our minds instantly go to abortion, which is literally child sacrifice and is grotesque and horrifying. This isn't wrong, not at all, and is obviously the most clear picture of what Chesterton is talking about. However, the application is much, much broader and far-reaching than the butchering of babies. Looking at Chesterton's words in reverse order, it is safe to say that we hate babies. We really do. We literally kill our own offspring because they could inconvenience our lives in some way. And it's not just babies, it's children in general. I can't tell you how many women I have heard over the years describe how thankful they were that the summer was over so that they could send their kids back to the indoctrination mills so that they could have just a few extra hours a week away from their kids. My thought to this sentiment is always, you suck, and I wonder how your kids feel about that. I think we worship animals because we hate children, and we hate children because we hate God. However, the application of said worship is also much broader as well. Just because we are not bowing down before a half-bull, half-man statue and burning our children alive in sacrifice doesn't absolve us of animal worship. Just because we are rank idolaters and have fallen into sin doesn't mean that we can change our nature, despite popular opinion these days. The godly troublemaker exists to shine the light of Christ in the eyes of the idols of our day. We are able to do this because we are entirely listener-supported, which makes us cancel-proof and beholden to none. Your gifts of any amount support godly troublemaking and enable us to cut straight in a crooked world. Thanks for your support. Man was created to have dominion, and procreation is a part of that. I would argue the best part of that. Having children is a tremendous blessing from the Lord, and when husband and wife, through covenantal bond, come together in sexual union and reproduce life, little images of themselves, they, in many respects, are most imaging the Godhead. And the reproduction of godly little image bearers is the chief catalyst to filling the earth with the glory of the Lord. Sin has perverted this impulse. The point I don't think is necessary to belabor here, in part because of the grossly obvious nature and appearance of said perversion. However, this is a perversion that runs all the way down and is often manifested in more respectable ways. This is often seen in healthy young couples who have made the conscious decision to not have babies at all. These are not couples who can't have children, which would be of no fault of their own and is a result of the fall, but these are couples that won't have children. However, this has not removed the internal longing for children, it's just perverted it. This is evidence in the massive amount of young couples who won't have children because they are self-indulgent narcissists and because it would interfere with their lifestyles too much. Therefore, opting to have fur babies, which is to say they refer to their pets as their babies and treat them as such. Just to put this into perspective, the U.S. pet market is expected to grow to $326 billion by 2028. This is not a small thing, nor is it an isolated thing, in that who cares if someone decides to not have children and if they refer to their pets as fur babies? If they are that stupid, isn't it a good thing that they are not having babies? Well, whether or not certain people should have children, I will leave that up to God. However, what I am pointing out is that when God's good design is abandoned, there are far-reaching consequences as such. I'm not just talking about economic ramifications that a declining birth rate can have on a people, though few seem to care about that. I am talking about the long-term cultural consequences of having animals referred to as being equivalent to children. Words and phrases have a creational and incarnational capacity, in that they can shape our reality. This is scary. I'm also thinking of the long-term ramifications of a massive amount of healthy young couples who have decided to not have children. Children humble you. They require sacrifice. They force you to look beyond yourself, and they are our link to the future. If you remove all of those necessary obligations and responsibilities and sacrifices from a good chunk of the population, that will not end well. And as these people age, the hardness and bitterness and deceitfulness of sin will only cause a further hardening. What began as a differing lifestyle choice has now become the preferred and ideal lifestyle choice, in that those who decide to have children will then be considered a necessary evil for obvious reasons. Obviously stating the obvious that without children, our civilization will not endure past a generation. Worse yet, those who decide to not only have big families, but see them as a blessing from the Lord, will be hated and ultimately not tolerated, because their life and the fullness thereof is not just different, it's a rebuke and constant reminder of the God who made them. Certainly, we can't fix this trend culturally, but what we can do is create a strong counterculture that stands as a clear rebuke to the world. And we can also remove this corrosive rot from within our churches. Young couples that choose not to have children for no other reason than that they don't want children need to be rebuked. The purpose of marriage isn't just to have legitimized sex, but rather what that legitimized one-flesh sexual union produces, namely, godly offspring. The positive way to correct much of this is through preaching and teaching a robust theology of not only the family, but also the household as a powerful integrated economic unit. There are several other things connected to this, like our understanding of education and even our political theology, and in many respects our eschatology and so on. Perhaps those all being topics for future shenanigans. Cheers.